Did you need something?
No, we're good.
Yeah, I assume he's talking to children.
Or wife.
That too.
I don't
Hopefully
care. I love
children with
responding
that
when
voice.
people are talking to other people. Like every night, like when Leo and I are playing games and he like says "love you" to his parents
Oh my
or like whoever, he always will like
My
you can
dad.
just hear off
my
mic
God.
like "love you," and we're always just like "you too, Leo."
How do you know
And
he's
then
not
it's
saying
just
love you to you,
silence.
Damon?
We know, but that's the
How
joke.
do you know?
Because he says
How do you know he's not saying it
every
to you?
time. He's
Man, I wanna
because
live
he
in-
says
Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. That sounds sick as hell.
Pigeon Forge. That sounds
Pigeon
dope as
Forge?
fuck.
That's
They
actually
make
very
pigeons!
close to where I'm from.
They make
Right,
pigeons.
Time to start guessing.
They do not make pigeons at Pigeon Forge.
No,
Oh, damn.
but
the only thing I know about
funnily enough,
Tennessee,
The Rock City.
funnily enough, one of the people here, actually a friend of ours, thought that the name Pigeon Forge was very funny because it sounds like they make pigeons there, and so she wanted a shirt from Pigeon Forge. Damn it! So that's one of the souvenirs that we picked up for people when we were back in the
That's-
States.
that's good.
Oh, thank
The
you.
only
quickly
things
for my
the
postcard. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
postcard was sick. It's on my fridge.
Nice.
Stay there for forever, probably. The only thing I know about Tennessee is, I would say, Martin Luther King got assassinated there, and the Civil War.
True.
That's about all. And moonshine. That's about all the things that I can tell you about it.
You've never heard of Dolly Parton?
Titans. Oh.
Well, that okay, and then like music stuff, of course, but I guess that's a decent amount of shit. Tennessee is far more prevalent
Alright.
than
Isn't
anticipated.
the Tennessee Valley
Authority?
Yeah,
the
see,
TV
you know that too.
has a big deal.
I definitely know about
Oak
that.
Ridge?
It's the first.
We're just
Uh,
doing
Oak
things.
Ridge, right?
Oh yeah, Oak Ridge. That's like plutonium manufacturing and for the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
See, you just named like two. I spent a lot of time researching
Woo!
the
I
atomic
did
bomb
it!
in Hanover and Oak Ridge.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
Hanover.
Washington, not Hanoi,
Oh.
which would be in Vietnam.
I said Hanover, as in Germany, not Hanoi.
Oh, as in
Oh,
Germany.
see, when
that
I
too.
hear
Hanover
Hanover,
trip,
I
yep.
think of the pretzels.
That too. This
I
podcast
hear
brought to you by
Hanover.
Hanover.
I think
No,
of
it's not-
Hanover
it was-
'96,
it's not
the
yours.
soccer team.
Speaking of
Okay.
podcasts, did you guys want to start one of those?
I guess.
Oh,
What?
Sure.
I don't
Is that
know.
what we're here for?
96, is that a soccer team? That is still a soccer team. They're not dead.
What's the
Welcome to the
96
Top
for?
5
I don't
podcast. I would like to start us off with a roll call if Dayman is functional enough to start it.
Well, now that
And
you
he's
called
not.
it out,
Oh,
this
shit.
podcast brought to you by Moonshine, straight from the Appalachia.
The Appalachia.
The
The
Appalachia.
Appalachia. There's
Yeah.
only one. It's the.
The one and only.
Takes up a lot of
Yeah.
space, but it is only one.
Yeah,
The Appalachians, the Appalachian foothills and the mountain range.
yeah, the Appalachia.
Okay, so did you want to start the roll call?
Well, no, because you're
Okay.
because you're hating.
Do you want to hit
Okay.
your golf ball?
Oh
No.
Oh,
I don't want to do anything.
Okay, fine. Don't.
You're not my supervisor.
No, in fact, you were
well,
you were my
welcome to
supervisor.
It's true.
welcome to this episode is Mr. Cole Slaw. He was learning that Dayman does not play golf while playing golf.
Doesn't
That's
do the
okay.
roll call while doing a podcast.
But he does do the technical stuff, so I guess we'll call it
So
a
we
draw.
love him for it anyway.
Yep, and he brings the vibe. Later. He will bring it later.
Damon harshes the vibe, actually.
Sorry, Bobbert hit a dong, and I feel the
He
need
did.
to respond.
Let's see.
Who did
Timing
Bobber hit a dong
context.
off of?
Session 2 just ended today.
Yeah, how did Bobber hit a dong?
MLN.
This is an MLN dong, and we are down
Oh,
by
MLN
6, so it was a really classic and a 2-run homer, a huge 2-run homer to cut the lead to 40.
Yeah.
That was the classic.
It's just
You're
4
really
now.
getting destroyed in MLN right now. I thought the Kitties
Well,
were
I
good.
mean, now we're down by 4, but I mean, have you ever lost a game before?
You
Yes,
can't
it
even
hurts.
talk. You're not even in the damn club.
Like,
You're looking.
Okay.
You're on the outside looking in.
do teams that like do well
MLN?
lose games every now and
Yes.
then? Yes.
Not the
Okay.
best.
No,
teams.
I'm talking to Chalk.
The 1976 Dolphins.
What?
Okay.
Ah, yes. Back when
Well,
Wait,
they
so
can.
are we actually not
they can
doing
get
a
in
roll
here.
call?
plumbers and electricians lined up at wide receiver.
No, we're doing the roll call.
Oh, okay.
Are we doing the roll call?
Yeah, you
Probably.
just skipped everybody after me. Is Moonshine your number 1 pick?
No,
That's 'cause
you
I-
didn't
I
go.
can't-
You
I can't do it if
go.
you don't
can't
lead
skip
it. I
people
just-
if you don't start.
I don't know
That's how
what to
that
do.
works.
I
Well,
can't
why don't
read-
you? You should just
I'm waiting
know.
on your line to read the next line of the script.
Yeah, these are scripted.
DeVito is a very regimented person. You know this. You've thrown off his
Scripted.
routine.
You've thrown
Thrown
off
off
my
your routine.
groove.
Dayman
Need to go on
here.
vacation
This
because they
podcast brought to you by Flipadelphia. Flipadelphia. Make sure to get your flip cup in.
What? We're sponsored?
Yeah, by
hope-
Flipadelphia.
Shit.
Probably.
I guess since that was his, Stupido Einstein here of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Chalk Banana, newly minted of your. I don't know what the first part is, but the loogies. I'm a loogie now.
Wow. Don't even know your own team name.
Man, I pay attention to so little. It is such a busy life over here lately.
It's the Magic Loogies.
The Magic Loogies?
Yep.
Well, I was not a second spitter.
With the initials ACK. ACK.
He doesn't even know.
I did know that, actually.
Don't even.
Leo Ballersbeck, co-GM for your San Diego Fathers.
Ye old dads.
And
Ye old
joining us
dad.
today
Well, what about Griff?
is. Oh, yes.
He's
I'm
always
sorry.
in our hearts and in our
Joining us
minds.
today is
Wow.
Griff.
Apparently
two of
not in
the-
shots.
2 of the 5 top 5 are present.
That's okay because at
Two
least
or
2 of
more.
us are thinking about it. So.
Yeah.
So therefore, he is
I'd argue-
very
Oh no,
free
I
here,
did
but
the thing where I.
Oh, shit.
I assume Griff has been living rent free in Leo's head since the middle of session 2 when he hit like 17 home runs.
I hit 2
So-
that game, by the way. Let's just.
Yes. And it was tremendous, and it was still not as good as Griff did. Didn't Griff have 2 or did he have
True,
3?
but I don't know if that's living rent free in Leo's head.
No,
I mean, now
if
you brought it
anything-
up.
either.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm rapidly trying to push it out of my
Yeah,
head.
if anything, he's not remembering that shit at all.
If anything, I'm evicting Griff from my head.
See, but the things that you push out or the things that you evict are in fact there. That's the point.
Are they?
That sounded
If I get
philosophical, and
if I
it's
get
too late
evicted
for
from
that.
my home, do
I'm
I
not
still live
biting.
there?
In order to be evicted, you have to live there first.
At one point, yes, and I will say that Griff did live in my head during the game.
I-
But that wasn't
game
rent free. There was
has
a reason
since
for
ended.
him to live
There was a
there,
reason.
so-
Yeah, that wasn't rent free. That was straight up sponsored by fucking HUD. That's what that was. Like,
And the rent was home runs.
This is where Chalk goes.
Okay,
you put
so
on, you've already
before
put
we
this is
more
a
started
than
fucking
enough.
Section
recording-
8 home run.
Before
we
we
start
started recording, we were
recording,
talking
this
about the
shit's all
Tennessee
staying in
Valley
here.
Authority. So that's the TVA.
Oh, yeah. The
And now
first
you just brought
planned
up HUD.
economy.
We need
Oh, we're bringing
to,
up all
as
the
many
alphabet
government
soups?
agencies as we can. Yes,
Okay.
please do.
They can be defunct,
Yeah.
obviously. Oh, I guess the TVA is
Yeah.
still around, but
I
it's not
assume
like
it is.
actively. It is. It still manages. I wonder if like the Bureau of Reclamation or something has taken over the TVA. I
No,
don't actually
you know who
know.
might know?
Is it
TVA
still around?
TVA.
Yeah,
The
it's still
person that
they still
might know-
manage it.
Would be our guest. Number 2 pick this year, Mr. Cole Slaw.
That's me.
I'm gonna play a horse
welcome.
noise.
And with my replacement, I am now leaving.
Okay, perfect.
Yep,
Yes,
I'm,
Stupido.
I'm Stupido now.
Let's talk more about the
When do
TVA.
you join the Phillies? Is the TVA still around?
Yeah, it's still around. They still do
It's
TVA things.
TVA things.
I don't know
Yeah,
what
the
you want me to
TVA
tell you about them. I mean,
the
it's like,
TVA was like one of the most like revolutionary New Deal programs at its initiation. It kind of turned into something like
Extremely
else, but-
controversial at the time, right?
Yeah, extremely.
Well,
That's
most,
why
you
it turned
know,
into what it was
Most
because
of the parts
people
of the
were.
New Deal were extremely controversial.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
and
is
also
different than like maybe we shouldn't spend money on poor people. This was like we're gonna fuck up your entire state.
yeah, it
Not
was like
necessarily in a bad way. It was just
people were like, people who are anti-TVA were just like, this is just like socialism. That was like the argument, and people who were for it were basically saying that like the issues of society were stemming from the disorganization of it, and especially of capitalism, and so we should actually like plan how we make these dams and like other uh things in the Tennessee Valley, or otherwise we're gonna have so much competition that things are gonna be so disorganized and terrible that nobody's gonna benefit from it. And people who didn't like that,
know about that part.
they were just like, fuck that. Yeah, that was like the whole thing. Like most of what FDR's like first 100 days of office were literally just progressive ideologies from the previous 20 years, and they just like tried to institute them. And because there was like a huge progressive wing of the party, and most of those people had like very differing ideas on what they should do, but they all were pretty much focused on like thinking that society needed to be ordered in a certain way, and because it wasn't, that is what was like causing most of the social and economic issues of the country. It did not stay there.
This essay I will.
Yeah, that I know about was from like there's a long historical record or a long like musical record of not like protest songs, but just like bluegrassy folk
Just
songs.
like folk songs, yeah, like the TVA coming, yeah.
The TVA basically just coming and moving you off your land because it's
for
going to be under 100 foot of water. So that wasn't like a communist socialism thing. It was like a, hey, we've been doing shit here for the last like 100 years, and now you're just moving us.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of that too. I would say the like planned economy stuff is more like the people who are like instituting it, and that's what they were thinking. But like, yeah, of course, people who live there are just like, fuck this, dude. What are you saying to me? I don't give a shit.
Yeah. So Cole, are you pro or against TVA?
Tell us your.
I mean, it's easy to be pro TVA when my family was not one of the ones that was displaced by dams. It's one of those things where I haven't had to think about it that hard because it didn't really affect me. I was born after all of the dams and stuff were built, and I have only ever benefited from TVA. So I mean, if you want to consider the fact that I don't have any like horse in that race, then yes, I like TVA. But there's plenty of valid reasons to be upset about it.
Commentary that we bring here. So, yes.
Oh, we had a good TVA rant. That'll take people by surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the content that people watch for.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Something like that. I don't know.
We're not a fake baseball podcast. We're a TVA podcast.
No, I purposely tried to not. Yeah.
You're
and I just realized
away
that
from fake baseball as you can.
I'm tired from a long day of dealing with kids and weekend chores and shit. Dayman was at a barbecue, so he's been daymanned up. I don't know what Lee and Stupido are doing, but Cole is just like waking up. It's like breakfast time for him, isn't it? What time is it in the House of the Rising Sun?
It's 10:20 now, so I've been up since, I don't know, 7-ish.
Fair.
He was really early for a grad student, Cole.
I don't know. I get up early as fuck too.
The sun actually rises really early here, so I do get up quite early because otherwise I'm awake well past the sun being down, and that's kind of lame.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. My advisor like explained it to me pretty good. He said that he started like, because he's like the type of shit where like we would get emails from him at like 3 a.m. And we were just like, dude, how the fuck do you stay up that late, like every night? Like, we're the graduate students and we're not even doing that. He was like, no, because I just do whatever I want all day while the sun's out, and then I just do the shit at my desk all night, so I don't get my days stolen from me from fucking working. And I was like,
I guess
this guy's onto something.
Is there sleep happening there at some time?
There has to be sometime.
At some point.
What? But the sunrise is really early here too, especially like from now until like fall. So the sun's like fully out by like I don't know, fucking early. I feel like so I wake up early too.
I wonder how much farther north you are than I am, because I never thought of that.
Or Cole?
Also, I didn't realize Japan was that much further north than I realized. But yeah, you too, because I figured we were roughly equivalent. Because I'm like
No,
4
well,
hours from Canada.
Those are some of my favorite trivia questions.
I'm like below the
Yes.
45th parallel because the 45th parallel is like almost where my dad lives. It's like an hour away. There's like a sign and shit.
I mean, where
There is
I'm at
no
in
way
Japan is
in
actually
life
not particularly far north. It's actually a pretty similar latitude to the Tennessee. Actually, it's not all that different. But the reason why the sun rises so early is just because of where it's like placed in the time zone.
And the whole
Ah,
country
okay.
is one time zone. So if you're on the western side, it's
Exactly.
Right.
I did not know that. Now that makes more sense.
That's how it is here too. It's like we're so close to Pacific time. Like Pacific time is literally like 45 minutes to the west. So it's like you
Got it.
get a crazy early sunrise and like it stays light super late. Like up until the equinox, the sun won't go down until like 9:30 or 10.
See, my world was just like stretched very thin there for a minute. I was like, I didn't realize you guys were that far north compared to me. But no, I'm like smack in the middle of my time zone. So
Yeah, it's
That
the
makes
time
sense.
zone thing. It's
Yeah.
instead of yeah.
and I said that wrong. If you're farther east, the sun comes up earlier.
Right.
If you're
That makes
west, it
sense.
stays up later.
Yeah.
Stupido, I didn't catch it at all. So
It's all right.
you
I
had-
said it wrong.
I mean,
I
that's
realized
about
it.
right. Tennessee and Japan are roughly 37 degrees north
Mhm.
Okay.
off the equator.
What the fuck is this podcast
About
turned
where I
into?
am. We're like geography and
Well, I got
history now.
Well, I teach both of those
Historical,
subjects. So I'm kind of good at
political.
those.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the Dr. Congo?
Who's got the questions for Cole?
I
Someone
don't.
does. I'll do it. Why not?
I can pull
Go
them
ahead,
up,
Leo.
I guess.
Let me just copy
Cole,
them
have you
into
listened to
a-
an episode of ours before?
into a notes
Yeah, I've listened to quite a few.
pad.
Where do you
That's
think
nice.
this one's ranking so far in your list? Of top
Um,
Oh,
podcasts?
Don't answer that.
Above or
I'm-
below
I'm-
taxes?
I'm in it, so it's obviously the best.
Okay.
There you go,
okay,
Cole. I
It
love
is
the
one
confidence.
conceited view.
I fuck with it.
Oh,
All
that's
right,
a
so
shot,
first question
Leo.
before Leo finds the
Right in the
question.
hole.
Were
I
you
got
Leo
upset
just
not to be
shot it
number
right
one?
in.
Was I upset not to be number one? Is that the
Yeah.
question?
Did you think you were a top pick?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. My batting average has other things to say about that, but yeah, I think so. I didn't quite realize how much scouting total was doing, and I don't think a lot of other teams did either. But I'm in a really bad place here with this. Little jump.
go
Yeah, that
Collect.
sucks. I normally do that.
That too.
Yeah, but I thought that I was definitely up there, and I'm happy to be number two. I think Total definitely earned number one, especially with how active he is and how much like he provides to the community.
I agree. I think we're all Toads fans here.
I
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
hate that guy.
I feel like you're inherently a little biased, Chuck. You know, with the whole top 5 studios,
Dumb and blinder, blind and dumber,
blind and dumber,
dumb word, dumb
sister
word,
show.
No, we're
Top
gonna
5
say it
studios.
wrong every single time because we
dumb
can't
wide
Yes.
receiver.
make
Dumb
you
and
think that we
Blinder,
actually
yep.
watch it.
Dumb and blinder.
Yeah. There's a new
Blinding.
episode coming out
F.
in which we debut the theme song. And you
Oh.
are it's going to be stuck in your head all fucking week.
Wait a minute. You get a theme song before we do?
It's not gonna
Yes,
be stuck
sir.
in my head because I'm not
But
gonna
you're the sister
watch
show.
it.
You are so going to watch it, and it's going to be stuck in your head. You're going to love it. You're
I'm
going to
not. I can promise you.
All right, well,
I'll
bringing
skip it.
things
How
back
long is
to,
it? Is it like right at the beginning and 30 seconds?
right at
or-
the beginning. Yeah, you don't have to
Someone's got to
Okay,
fall on
I'll
their
just
sword to
right
like, tell us
arrow a few
what.
times.
Yeah, yeah, like, and then give us the timestamp so we can.
All right, bringing things back to the guest that is currently with us today,
No.
Coleslaw. How did you find the league?
Is this episode coming out right after Totals?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, just watch that. It was the same thing.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the
We
same too,
we
everybody.
both saw the same post in the Detroit Tigers subreddit. And,
Oh, nice.
Showed
Oh, are
up
you
at
a Tigers
pretty
fan?
much the same time. Yeah, I'm a Tigers fan.
Oh boy.
How did you become a Tigers fan in Tennessee?
Is that how I was about to say? I was
Well,
looking
I
at it again.
mentioned probably before we did the roll call. My dad is from Michigan, and he kept up with sports much more than my mom ever did. So when we watched sports, we were watching Detroit sports, and so
Nice.
that's how I learned the suffering of being a Detroit sports fan.
What was
I mean,
the,
at least you don't have to be
Yeah,
a
there was a
Titans
time in my
fan.
life when the Red Wings were good.
I was about to say you might have missed the Red Wings
Yeah.
being amazing for like
Stevie,
a half a decade.
Stevie Y.
Well, I caught the tail end of that.
That's like early
and-
2000s, right? Or like mid.
Yeah, so I was
yeah.
watching hockey then, as a little
Good
kid.
sport.
But
Leo
yeah,
approved.
Since then,
Shout out to Boise Steelheads.
I watched the last Red Wings playoff appearance that ended the 25 or whatever year streak, and we've been crying about it ever since.
When you get 25 years, it's okay to take a couple off.
How are y'all this year?
That's my thought.
Let's look.
But it just makes
Terrible.
me feel like
terrible?
it's like I know ever so slightly what Yankees fans feel like, and that makes me first of all angry, but second,
Understandable.
more angry. So
Yes.
Who's
Also
Scoop saying
understandable.
here? Got it.
So
Double
angry that you went to
spanker.
an entirely different country where I assume hockey is not played.
Japan has a
yeah,
hockey
There's
team.
some hockey.
there's some, but not near me.
Okay.
There's lots of baseball played here,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, I did not escape the Yankees. They are internationally known.
Yeah.
I would assume that, honestly, if I were to go to any foreign country, I would probably just automatically assume a shitload of people there are just Yankees fans. If anything.
Or Dodgers. Don't forget the
Or
Dodgers.
Dodgers, yeah. Like,
Well, yeah, they are Dodgers fans now.
Because of Ohtani
especially
of course,
Yamamoto,
of course,
duh.
yeah.
Ohtani. But even when Ohtani was an
Ohtani,
Angel,
Yamamoto.
you didn't see a lot of Angels hats. Like there were definitely huge Ohtani
Yeah.
fans, obviously, but it was still mostly Yankees and Dodgers hats. Just because I don't even know if the people wearing those hats watched baseball or if they were just wearing it as a
Yeah,
fashion
it's just
statement.
like a.
It's a New York logo. It's not a Yankees logo at some point. Yeah.
Exactly. And
it's an
same thing
America
for
logo.
the Dodgers. Is it's an America logo. It's a Los Angeles logo.
LA, good city.
I
Yeah.
did a semester in Germany in a very historical town called Heidelberg, which is like it's a famous tourist destination. It was untouched by the war. It's got this really famous Altstadt, the old city. Giant tours would walk past my living quarters, and the university there is one of the oldest in Europe. I think it's obviously the oldest in Germany. And on the main drag is of course an Irish bar, which why not, right? You're in Germany, there's an Irish bar, and that Irish bar is a Steelers bar. It's got a very prominent sign that says Steeler Country on it.
Wow.
So I can't get away from the fucking Steelers either. So
You're just like,
right.
bro, what the fuck? That would be like me going to Bulgaria and going to like a Seahawks bar. I'm just like, why is this
Exactly.
here?
But
Why?
the Steelers, man, they are an international brand. Similar
Steelers
to,
are like
Ugh.
huge,
Yeah.
which sucks.
Yeah.
All the Germans knowing who Mike Tomlin is.
Ben
I don't even
Roethlisberger, that's who we
big-
want to
that big
fucking
Ben.
show people.
I
No.
guarantee you, Totes,
It's
not
better than
Totes,
trying to like Dan
Cole
Snyder.
is able to walk to a Steelers bar somewhere in Japan right now.
Nope. I cannot
Nope?
promise you that. Nope.
Oh, are you on an island?
Well,
No,
yeah,
I'm
okay,
on
all
the main
Japan is an
island.
island.
But if
Japan is an
I
island.
I will die before
Everyone.
I reach a any kind of football theme bar. There is a University of Tennessee bar in Tokyo now, but walking there would take me several weeks.
Okay.
There are trains. You know that, Cole.
Yes, but he said I could walk to one,
it's true.
and
He
I
did say
cannot
walk.
Yeah,
from my current location.
The idea being that it's on the same set. I'm gonna Google this. I'm gonna Google because, dude, I bet
Do
you.
your
There might
thing.
be one. There might.
Get to
Football is
Googling.
not very big here.
Anywho,
Man, that
so
just
how
brings up
did
a
Well,
Totes
in
find
my
reality.
2 weeks of Tokyo or Japan travel, I did not see a Steelers bar.
It just brings up a depressing reality of like Japanese people being like New York Jets fans because they're from New York,
Yeah.
or like Giants fans. Ugh.
Man,
Even
I
worse,
hope
they're like
not.
New York Ranger fans.
Rangers are currently losing in the East Finals right now.
I thought they already lost.
Didn't even know it was hockey players.
No, they are down by a game, and they're down 1-0 right now. It's like the second period.
They are. Yep. This is win or go home for
Yeah, for
the
them.
Rangers.
The
Also
Oilers
for
already-
the Stars. Nope. Oilers are not clenched.
Oh,
You take that back.
Did they not? I
Nope.
thought
3-2.
who won the?
Are
Did the
Edmonton
Stars win the
Oilers
last one?
good again?
Nope. Oilers won the last one. The
Oh,
Oilers
interesting.
have been. I
The
mean, they have
Oilers
Connor
are good
McDavid.
again,
They're
yeah.
always going to be pretty good.
But
Yeah,
like,
Leon
I
There
think
was
where
a
the joke
whole
comes
couple
from
of
is
decades
that
they were not very good.
Yeah, that's why they got Connor McDavid.
yeah.
Anyway, next question. How did you
Most
come up
off
with
the
your
rails
name, Mr.
episode.
Coleslaw?
So when I joined, I looked at what other people were named for inspiration.
Of course.
And I'm the kind of person that likes to. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm the kind of person who likes to. When I come up with a fake name, I want it to be somewhat believable, even if it's silly. And I was like, what's a name that I can come up with that could be an actual name, but nobody would want to be named that? And so I thought for a bit, and I was like, oh well, I mean, there's lots of baseball jokes to be made, right? Like, I could be Homer Pyle, but then I looked up players named Homer with our fancy little player. Oh, god damn it, our fancy little player command.
Ooh, that's worse.
And there's a lot of
That's
people named Homer. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. What else can I do? And eventually, I was just like, oh wait, Cole. I could be Cole Slaw, and so that's what I did.
Homers.
Lava
Nice.
homers.
5
Do you-
different homers in an MLR.
The next question is, and I'm gonna jump on Leo's whatever the fucking phrase is. Creamy or vinegar?
Dick? Oh. never
You're
mind.
gonna jump on Leo's creamy or vinegar? Is that what you're gonna do?
Jump on Leo's
Yeah.
dick.
He's
My
jumping on
fucking
Leo's-
God.
I was trying to say step on his toes, but that's not what came out as you.
Would you
all
rather
heard.
have Leo's cream or vinegar?
Oh no.
Actually,
Why
that's the
not?
next question.
Oh,
Right,
sorry.
right, right.
Not to
We're-
step
we're-
on your vinegar.
Yeah.
not to jump your shark.
Yeah.
No,
Your slaw.
I
Not the
I
yuck
like
your yuck.
yeah, not to jump your slaw. I like a vinegary slaw actually. And
You're telling me a vinegar made this slaw?
Oh, that's no. You're not cooking. You're not cooking.
Good, because
my
coleslaw's uncooked.
my grandma made a particularly vinegary coleslaw, and that was the way that I ate it for a very long time. And so
I don't think-
prefer it that way.
I don't want to use these adjectives anymore. I
Yeah.
like a more.
Yeah, maybe you should listen to my answer to the question before you started making an innuendo.
Like, I don't want to use the adjectives, but I do agree that I definitely think I like it more like that rather than just
Like
I don't know,
that.
I'm not the biggest fan of mayonnaise.
I'm
don't
a
like the
creamy
mayonnaise,
coleslaw
huh?
man.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just not like the biggest fan of it. So if it's like some sort of like ranch and like thing like and mayo thing like that, then I don't know if I'm gonna be down. But
I don't think ranch and mayo are related.
I was gonna say, do they
Could be
put
wrong.
ranch
They
in coleslaw?
Mayo
I
and
don't
ranch are
fucking know.
directly related. Now, if they're used in the same thing, it's different. But
How are mayo and ranch directly related?
how are mayo and ranch directly related?
While you look that up, there is a follow-up
This episode
question
brought
from
to you
the
by
audience.
ChatGPT. No, sorry, go ahead.
Cole Noah Diamond, shout out Noah Diamond, wants to know what food is best to put coleslaw on or with, I guess.
That's a good question. I'm trying to think of what we used to eat
Damn
with
it.
all the time.
I do like when they put the coleslaw on like a chicken sandwich. Mm.
All right, here you go. Ranch is just mayonnaise, but with spices and herbs. And
Ranch
also
is very
buttermilk.
much
I
so
like-
not mayonnaise.
I like
I mean,
coleslaw
yeah,
with
ranch
like
has buttermilk.
like a savory dinner
Yeah.
of some kind. So like if
For
if
sure.
it was like steak and potatoes, like coleslaw would be good with
Yeah.
that as another side. I enjoy that
I
quite a
like
bit.
coleslaw on a Reuben
Dog.
instead of sauerkraut because I don't like sauerkraut.
That's fair. Yeah.
They call it.
I like
Rachel.
most any
I don't-
sandwich that's gonna have like coleslaw and something, as long as it's like they,
Nice
there's
contrast,
like
texture,
brisket.
taste.
Yeah, exactly. Like brisket and coleslaw. That's like a popular one.
Coleslaw's
Okay, but
also
again-
good on like if you're having sandwiches or like you have. So one thing that we would do a lot is if we have like a family get together, sometimes we would get sandwiches from like a deli or something, and having coleslaw on the side of that is also really good. I don't think I've ever put
Versatile.
I don't
coleslaw
think
on a
ranch
sandwich.
is made out of mayonnaise.
What?
Ranch is not made out of mayonnaise. If that is like,
It's
I'm a
not like you're
44-year-old
taking
Midwesterner.
mayonnaise and just. It's not like you're taking just like a tub
Mayonnaise
of
is
mayonnaise
oil
and making
and
ranch
egg.
out of it. Like it's just saying it's similar ingredients.
I don't think ranch has egg in it. Mayonnaise is egg and oil. That's what mayonnaise is.
Does ranch have egg in it? Yes, it does.
Ranch has
I'm
egg
about
in
to go
it.
get my ranch
Yep.
dressing in check.
You're more than
Okay,
welcome
first
to.
off, Leo, do you know how
Everybody
to use
get
a
up and
computer?
grab your
What are
ranch.
you even doing? Because you're just saying it out loud and then just saying an answer. I don't trust you. I don't trust you at all.
I mean,
He's
you can
asking
look it
his
up.
dad
Okay,
who's
do you
sitting
want
next
me?
to him.
This is the fucking dictionary definition. Do you want me to just settle this?
I first
look
want
it
to
up.
say real quick,
Is it from a
if
reputable
Leo
site?
is
then
using
Wikipedia
the
doesn't count as one of the
state-approved
chalk.
textbooks that he teaches out of, nothing that he says can be trusted.
Joke's
I
on you.
just wanna make
We
that
don't
clear.
have a textbook.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
jokes
Then
on you, like multiple states use the same textbook as Texas because Houghton Mifflin is based in Texas, and that's like a whole thing with
Leo
like school
has-
like centralization. So like
Yes,
people in
yeah.
Pennsylvania and
Speak
Idaho
those.
use Texas.
Ah, I really
curriculum.
hope not. As a person who's about to send their
It's-
children,
No, it's true. It's I
Pennsylvania
mean it's not
schools.
every state, but like they all use the same publishers because schools aren't going to pay for like their own textbooks to be made and shit. So once a publisher says we have Life Science, the 14th edition, like most schools just get that shit.
Traditional
So
ranch,
it's like-
ranch dressing typically contains egg as one of its ingredients, often
Yeah.
in the form of mayonnaise or egg yolks. There you go.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Ranch
My
is a
entire
creamy,
world.
savory American salad dressing that's
I am
made with
shook,
buttermilk, herbs,
as the kids
spices,
say.
and a sauce base. The
I already
sauce base
Googled
is
this.
usually
This was
mayonnaise
this was
or
my
another
first
oil
Google.
emulsion. Emulsion?
Emulsion.
Whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. But
Mayonnaise is an emulsion.
Leo is 100% correct.
all right,
Next
I am-
question.
I am fucked up right
Nope.
now. Oh
Me
my
too.
god, it's
I have
the
8
fourth
seconds on that.
goddamn
Now-
ingredient.
I didn't
He
mean to let you
fucking
recover from
Soybean
it.
oil,
shook his
water,
ass.
sugar, egg yolk.
There you go.
Oh
Who'd
my
have thought?
god, the world
knows-
has been turned upside
Leo
down.
knows
All right,
something
that's
about
our podcast
eating
brought to you by eggs.
Brought to you
The
by
incredible edible egg.
Hidden Valley.
Cole, I'm sorry, buddy. We are
mayonnaise.
usually much better than this.
Cole, what part
Maybe
of
actually we're not
Japan
usually much
do
better
you
than
I
this.
don't-
live? Is the
Uh,
question.
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, I'll take you on an adventure.
All right.
so-
I'm packed. I'm ready.
Think of the smallest city near you. Like what's a small city?
Ooh.
The one I live in?
Sure. Okay.
You live in
That's
Think
Norwich,
about-
I mean-
don't
Think about how
Okay.
small that
you?
is,
Do
and
you cut
then
that?
and
I'm
then
sorry. Do we need to
consider.
cut
What do we?
I didn't even hear just. Oh, anyways, just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll figure it out in post as you do. Consider
Or
then a small town next to that city.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I'm following.
I'm picturing.
Now
Cole, I grew up
consider
a mile
all those
outside of a town of
suburbs.
200 people.
consider an even smaller town outside of that town.
Okay.
And that's where I live.
Okay.
So three
my-
towns are
So
new.
you live in a Russian nesting doll?
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. No,
Only in Japan.
our
I mean-
town has a population of 6,000 people.
That's still bigger than I was
That's
thinking.
pretty
I mean,
big.
Yeah, I grew up in a
Um,
town of 200 people. Actually, I grew up on a farm a mile outside a town of 220 people.
I mean,
Okay.
small towns around here.
My
Well, yeah,
kid's school
be-
district has 20,000 kids in it, so I don't know what this means.
Well,
How
the
many?
thing
What?
is, you also have
How
to think
many?
about Japan and the
20,000.
United States of America population
Jesus.
densities are going to be wildly different. So a small city in the United States where there's a lot more land is going to be a lot different than a small city in Japan
Yes.
where
so this
there's
is
less space for people.
this is 6,000 people nestled in the mountains along a river, across.
All right, I'm going to.
I'm trying to think of
shit, hang on.
roughly how big the area is. It's probably 20 to 40 square kilometers, something like that.
yeah. See, I feel what you're saying. That near me would be a town of like 200 or 100 people.
Okay, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's like it's decently like populated, except that everybody here is old and a lot of the buildings are empty.
Japan is like that. Yeah, most people in Japan are old. That's how their
Yep.
population pyramid is
The
pyramiding.
inverse.
Leo is flexing all of
pyramid.
his history and geography muscles today. I'm loving it.
Don't
All right,
forget
can
my
we talk about the
culinary
Meiji
knowledge.
Restoration?
Nope.
I first actually
the
want to ask you a question.
Meiji?
How old is your town?
Oh,
2,000 years. No, I'm kidding.
Hey,
It dates back to
possible.
the Edo
No,
period.
that's what I'm saying.
no, it
It's
actually
not
kind of
very
does.
possible.
I'm trying to remember how.
That's
old
just
the
like a
town
good
It's
guess
not
for-
as long ago as you think it is. Yeah.
It's not. It's
I have to
not.
look
That's
that
like
up
a
real
good
quick.
guess for a few hundred years ish, kind of.
Nice.
I'm looking.
It's like in China, where like a big thing in China is anytime someone says like, "When's this from?" Everybody just says Qing because that was like the ruling dynasty from like the early 1700s to the 1911 revolutions. It was just like, probably that. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah.
I was way off on the size of the town because my ability to judge space and distance is totally wrong.
That's fine.
233 square kilometers if you count everything. It's really
Okay.
nestled into two specific spots, and there's a road between them. But
Okay.
when was the? Okay, let me do some golfing, and then I'll get back to it.
Don't say that. Make sure you don't say the name out loud.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've probably given more than enough information across MLR servers to dox myself about 4 times over, so I'm not.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
What is the name of your most recent publication?
Don't
Don't actually say it. That was a toxic joke.
I'd have to check.
The shortened title is fine.
We're actually all
Uh,
outside your house right now.
Yeah.
Flew in just for it.
Yeah, it was.
Actually,
it was.
You just sent
Edo
Griff as an
period.
emissary. Nice.
Griff is an emissary.
Griff is outside your
so-
house right now. Please feed him.
He's hungry.
We sent him with 2 boxes of
only had, like,
Rice
36
Krispies and said,
hours to plan
"Fucking
this."
go for it."
Good luck,
It was
Griff.
officially organized into a village in the late 1800s, but before
Yeah.
that, there was a castle there during the Edo period.
Ooh, is the castle still there?
It is ruins now. There's not much left of it. The castle
That's
itself
fair.
is actually kind of like
Ruined.
there's like
Ruins.
some bricks left from it. It was sacked a handful of times, and
Sweet.
doesn't really have much interesting left to show people. But there's also a
Maybe.
temple, and the temple actually is quite interesting.
What's the temple
That's cool.
for or around?
It's just on a mountain out here. It's a Buddhist temple.
A Tao? No, Shinto temple?
No,
or
it's
He
Buddhist, I
just
guess.
said
It's a Buddhist, apparently.
Yeah.
Buddhism is a big thing here in Japan, especially in rural Japan.
They don't have more of the traditional Shinto popular sorts of beliefs. It's mostly Buddhist.
So Shinto is one of those things where it's like a tradition rather than a religion. So
Oh,
you
that
can
makes
be a
sense.
Buddhist and still observe
would-
Shinto traditions because it's
That
not
makes
like
sense.
being a Buddhist means that you can't like
Right.
honor your ancestors and pray and stuff like that. Like
Right.
Buddhism is like a philosophy / religion, and it's treated more as a philosophy here, and Shinto is a tradition.
Yeah, that
I
makes
would-
sense.
I would make an argument against Shinto not being a religion. I would just make the argument that the distinction between or the exclusivity of religions, or the ability to adhere to multiple tenets of multiple what we would define as religions, is much easier in Eastern traditions, specifically in Japan. Because when we were studying
I think as well. Sorry
Japanese
to interrupt.
religion,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
well, it's real quick. The phrase was, and you'll have to, I don't remember this, which one it is, but the phrase that we were taught was, in Japan, you're born Shinto and die Buddhist, or the other way around. I don't remember which.
It's probably you probably had it correct.
Yeah, the ceremonies associated with them are tied more to one of the traditions than the other, which both would, align with a unified sort of what I would call generally religious sort of approach to life that's still alive, but that is, an argued point depending on who you're talking to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I would say
sorry.
though that like most people don't treat Shinto like we generally view religion. Like people here don't necessarily believe in like the thousands of spirits or whatever that make up Shinto beliefs. It's like I don't know. I mean, maybe some people do. Maybe I'm assuming too much, but
I would
not,
I would ask like what the belief would be, or what would compose the belief, but like that's an academic question, that maybe we don't need to get into.
Yeah, it's Shinto is I think pretty complicated, but at the very least, like there's shrines for Shintoism and shrines for Buddhism, and people will go to both.
Right.
And
it's like the same. There's like the same issues with like Hinduism, of like what is commonly associated as Hinduism. It was just the name that the British gave to what they thought was the religion of people in India. What actually what they were observing was like their religion and Buddhism together. So you can get like this weird mix where people where it's like, oh, it's this and this, and it's like actually people there don't really think of it that way because it's viewed completely different to like the labels we have in the West, or like how we view like more like monotheistic religions that we're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm better with Chinese religions because I took more courses in that one, and the guy I studied with specialized with them. So the way to think about we have like religions as an island. And it's really fucked up because even within what you would consider like a consistent religion like Christianity, there's still islands within that. So you can't be Lutheran and Catholic because then you'd have to sacrifice each other to the gods of the old or something. But like in China, for instance, there are strong, and I mean, there's like people die over this shit, Buddhist or Taoist or Confucian or whatever. And it becomes an amalgamation of it where if you think of like a mountain range, which is just elevated up above everything else, but then there's like peaks, like the whole earth that the mountains are rising out of, that's like the popular religion. And then at certain points in life, or certain people are privileged, various peaks that like kind of come out of those as more of a Buddhist peak or a Taoist peak or a Confucian peak. But really, like the whole tradition underlying it is all very similar and shared, and it's not these exclusive islands that can't mingle sort of thing. So it's just but Damon, the way you're talking about it as the way we conceive religion here versus the way religion, and again, we're using a term that's very difficult for
it's like even the term is like not even correct.
Yeah.
No, I mean just for
it's very hard
for all an allegory for fake baseball.
Of course.
And after our ad break, brought to you by Moonshine, we're gonna talk about Zoroastrianism.
So
which is also an allegory for fake baseball. Sorry, go ahead.
True.
Where's as a fan of the top 5 previously, where is this now on your list of best episodes?
It is one of the best episodes of all time.
Got it. No longer the best, but now one of
One
the best.
of. He wants to give some
Got it.
credit to others.
Got it. Got it. The humility.
I don't
Leo, what's
want
the
to
next
give
question?
credit to others,
The next
but
question.
we're really making a case for this not being the best.
The next question is, of course, what's it like being on the opposite end of MLR activity?
I was trying to think of something funny and it didn't work.
I don't even
Don't worry.
understand what this
I
question
was going to say, don't
means.
worry. I don't understand this question.
This
so-
is well, so it's a time zone question. So
Ah.
it's the same way I feel about
I
a lot of
see.
other things since I moved here. People like my friends in the States are awake when I'm asleep and asleep when I'm awake. And
Hard.
that's just kind of how it's going to be, and that's how it is in MLR as well. Like I feel like I do end up missing some stuff, but it's not really like a terrible thing, especially because we have 12-hour timers. So it doesn't really matter that I'm not awake. I miss some of the social things, obviously, but I still get to play and participate, and I enjoy that a lot. So it's not terrible. I think
that
would
just be the tough
probably,
part. The
yeah,
social
I think
aspect.
I would
even of just like your
probably
friends back in the States.
Yeah, that is always a problem. But I mean, I have friends here too, just not as many, and they're not all interested in the same things. So it is what it is. But
baseball the unifier.
I do enjoy this a lot.
Yeah, would you say that, like, I mean, I know we talked about this earlier when we were talking about sports, but like, even like where I, like, even here, like, I can't just like go around and just like not enough people here watch baseball to like be like to just like strike up a conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like you could just like walk into a bar and just like see someone wearing like a baseball hat and like start talking about it. They would just be like, "What the fuck?" Like, I don't know if it's so popular there that like that is like what Chuck said, like unifying. But here, I don't fucking even. I've even been in Seattle when like, and people are just like, "I don't give a fuck about the Mariners," and you're just like, sad.
What about the Kraken? No, I'm kidding.
That would piss me off if I was like, "Go Mariners," and someone was like, "But what about the Kraken?" I'd be like, "Fuck off!"
You have to care about something.
Probably Seahawks fans.
So the next question is, of course, what happens when you compete?
Before we move
against...
on, I was gonna.
Okay. All right.
I was gonna ask, how hard is it? How long have you been away from the States and your family? And like, how hard is it?
I've been away for 2 years now. It was a lot harder when my wife was not here, obviously, because she had to stay in the U.S. for about 6 months when I first moved over here, because we were waiting on paperwork for the cats first, and then for her after that, because it all got screwed up and lost in the mail, etc. But I feel like I've never been someone who like asked to be around my family all the time. Like I do really love my family. I really appreciate them, but I've always been okay on my own. I do miss like being able to hang out with people in person, and now I just talk to most of my friends online, talk to my family online and stuff like that. But I don't think being here has been as hard for me as it could be for some other people. There have been people that have done like the PhD program here and been far away from their families, and it's been really rough for them. And I don't feel like that has been as much of a challenge for me.
Yeah, because I'm sure people like talked about that, or like your advisor, or like the whoever, like when you first got in, were like,
yeah.
It could be like it could make you fucking quit if it's gonna be that difficult, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing some of the things that like keep people from finishing degrees. Like I completed mine, and I was in, I would say, the bottom 50th percentile of both ability and drive. and yet I got it, and people that were smarter than me and worked harder than me, didn't for a plethora of reasons. Homesickness was always one of them. Because I know I moved around. Like, I left home when I was 21 for the last time, and I haven't been back since. As far as like living there, right? So yeah, it's not easy, man. I also left my wife for a year. We were just started dating. We'd been together for a year, but I left to go to Europe for a year, and she visited a bunch. But I could only imagine being 12 hours time zone wise away from your wife and
Yeah,
cats.
it's not. Yeah, I mean, it's not even that you're just like, oh, like we have to live apart for however many months, but you're also like, holy fuck, it's like the exact opposite. Not like it's just 4 hours ahead or some shit, Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. When
was
you're
it a
having
pain
a
in the
bad
ass
day,
to get?
you gotta wait. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly. Yeah, no, you're good. Was it a pain in the ass to get the cats and stuff over there and like the paperwork and stuff, or no?
Honestly, the paperwork was not the hardest part. It was not bad. We had to pay an awful lot of money to get blood tests to prove that they didn't have rabies. It was like $250 a cat, basically, to show that they did not have rabies. And then we had to wait 6 months after the blood work was done to be able to bring them in at all. So that all sucked. And then we had to obviously fly them here on a plane. They handled that pretty well. They handled all the travel pretty well. And then one other issue that we faced is that in Japan, pets are not allowed to fly in the cabin at all. They can fly into Japan on the international flight in the cabin, but on domestic flights, pets are just not allowed in the cabin. And
fuck.
So they would have had to fly in the cargo hold if we were going to fly to our local airport. And we didn't want to do that.
Absolutely
so
not.
we took
No,
trains.
Yeah, fuck no.
We took trains from Tokyo to here, and it took 6 hours ish of train ride to get here. And we had stayed a night in Tokyo in an Airbnb. That was fortunately pet friendly.
Are pets really like? Are they not common there, or are they?
Pets are decently common, but animal rights here is not the same as it is in the West. I will say that.
Gotcha.
But like, there is definitely still a really big culture of having pets, and like, and vets offices and stuff are really good. But it's just not culturally treated the same way. So like, there was only one apartment in this entire town that would allow us to even have the cats. I did not have options when choosing where to live. Like, it was this or they couldn't, like we would have to like sneak them into an apartment basically. So yeah, that also was kind of unfortunate. I mean, I do like our apartment. It's a really nice apartment, and we have a lot of space. It's the most expensive apartment I probably could have gotten. And our landlady's a little insane about some things. But it was what we had to do in order to bring the cats here, so it worked out.
Yeah, because that's like my just like hearing you say that shit, I'm just like, yeah, I would do all that. I don't fucking care. I would pay fucking $500. Like, there's literally no scenario in the entire universe that's not like me or the cats dies and in not the same event where like I would go to Japan like to live there or live anywhere and like they're not coming with, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not, it's just never happening. So yeah, I would just pay as much money as I had to, or have to live wherever, as shitty as it is. Like,
I've told you guys that it was hard for me to find apartments in Germany because my last name is a euphemism.
yeah.
It's really hard to find a a apartment that accepts pets in a major university town with a housing shortage when your last name is
Yeah.
a euphemism for a penis. So,
Yeah.
all the stuff you're talking about, Cole, like oh God, when I was doing my year over there, I broke my big toe falling downstairs 2 days before I left. And so I flew with like a basically like a everything wrapped up in a cast sort of thing. And I had the cat on my lap, and I just got wheeled around airport to airport. And she was in a carrier for basically 24 hours, and she did
Yeah.
great. She was amazing. But also, like, if I didn't have my cat with me, I would have never gotten any work done, and it'd have been the loneliest, most miserable experience of my life. So, it was worth it and such,
The-
which I assume you were feeling. So,
Yeah,
I can't
was
imagine
definitely
my
pretty
cat
lonely
being quiet
when
the
I
whole
when I
time.
got here.
Yeah.
yeah, I could. Yeah,
Especially if you're used to
How
having
is your-
cats, like it's like
Yeah.
strange as hell. Used to having like cats and your wife or girlfriend or whatever, like
And then
partner
just
in
the
general.
entire apartment's empty. Like I
Yeah.
obviously I moved into this apartment before they got here, and it was this is a family size apartment. I have 3 bedrooms, and so I got here and I moved in this big empty apartment. I hardly even had furniture because I didn't want to buy a bunch of stuff
Yeah, of
before
course.
before my wife got here and could help pick it out and decide how she wanted things arranged. And so I was in this just giant empty apartment. I had a bed. Some of the light fixtures didn't even work properly.
Nice.
And it was just totally empty. Didn't even have a table for a while. In fact, I was given a table by a former student who graduated like last year. He gave me just a crappy extra table that he had, so that was my table for a while. And it was not even like a Western table. It was a floor table. So I would sit on the floor to eat. Yeah, that was
one
my
does.
life.
Yeah. Next,
That
I
is-
couldn't even eat like from the counter because the everything. Sorry, I've probably moved too close to my mic now. Everything in Japan is designed for people who are roughly a foot shorter than me.
Oh, are you like super tall?
I am 6'4".
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay.
And
pretty
so
tall.
I quite regularly hit my head on door frames, and the counter and the sinks are all below my waist. So it's
I feel like that might be short even for me. Like I'm 5'10", and I feel like
Yeah,
even that,
yeah,
it'd be
it-
like, oh fuck, like
Are you also a fat guy, Cole? Not to be too pointed about it.
no, I am very skinny.
I'm a 6 foot large fat round dude, so fitting in any of the old like university buildings that they've retrofitted some doors so that people with like wheelchairs can come in and such. But
Mhm.
also every once in a while you'll go to a classroom where it's like I have to walk sideways to get in, just because I'm like broad.
Yeah.
And then you go visit a ruin or something. You're like, is this their closet? No, this is where 4 men slept. And you're like, Jesus Christ. So sorry, I'm empathizing a lot and remembering a lot of a specific period in my life. Yeah, sorry, you're taking
No,
me
you're
back.
fine.
So the
what
next
my wife
question
says.
on the docket: what happens when you compete against Cat Tobins on the scale of, and I did not write this, aphrodisiac to landmine? What's the marital impact? I ask as a person trying to get my wife to join. Again, I did not write this. I don't have a wife.
Neither did I,
It's
but I do.
written
But I didn't
by-
write it.
This is written by Chalk Banana.
It is written
Had
by
to be.
Chuck
I
Banana.
I think I'm the only one left.
So we have not really competed in fake baseball. She was not pitching when Boise State played Texas. She was not a pitcher at that point. We did obviously play against each other in that game, but it was quite early. I don't remember if it was I think it was our second game. I think it was the second session of FCB, and
schedule.
I was still, developing my scouting techniques, and she was not entirely like on the same page in terms of how scouting worked. So I was trying to like teach her how scouting worked without scouting against my team. And yeah, I mean, I would say that in fake baseball, I don't really have a way to answer that question. But in general, when we compete at say Mario Kart or something, I it's definitely not a landmine. Definitely not an aphrodisiac. It's fun and we enjoy it. And she's fun to compete against because she gets really excited one way or the other, whether she wins or loses. So yeah, it provides a lot of energy and joy. But yeah, I don't
So you
think
guys
I
have
could.
a bit of a competitive relationship already.
Not in general, but like when we do compete, it's a good time just because it's like it's something that we don't do very often. So it's like a fun, exciting thing to do. And you know that really comes down to mostly Mario Kart or Mario Party or a board game or something like that. And you know, in those cases, it's definitely a lot of fun. But I would certainly not call it an aphrodisiac.
Fair enough. Well, it was a spectrum. It was a scale.
Yes, I'm trying to. In my mind, I'm trying to
Find
figure
the
out
midpoint.
the other labels of the spectrum between literal landmine and literal aphrodisiac. Because I cannot possibly interpret this figuratively. There's no way I could do that.
How about just good time?
I would say it is.
Honestly, either one of those sides of the spectrum could be called good time, Leo.
Landmine's a good time to you?
Depends on the marriage.
Yeah, I think you need therapy.
I was about to say I
didn't say it was my marriage.
If
Leo, I
your
think you should
marriage
just
is a
generally
landmine, probably need
Always be
therapy.
mildly concerned. I think that's a good state.
Yeah, I would call it a. I'm gonna put it on a number scale because I don't feel very.
On a number between
clever
1 and
in
1,000.
Between a number between 1 and 1,000. Where have I heard this before?
Who knows?
Are we on a fake baseball podcast?
We might be at this point.
No way.
You wouldn't know
We
it.
may have finally made it back. I don't know.
All the way circled all the way back.
I would say it's a positive experience. A good 774.
I was gonna say maybe if we go diffs between a diff of 0 and 500.
That way everybody can understand.
As the batter.
As the batter, it's a. We'll call it a single. It's
Call it a single.
It's a single.
Ooh, baby, a triple.
It's your,
All right.
it's your first base.
We're back to
There we
bases
go.
as
I'm
things.
back to being clever. I
Back
did
to
it.
basics.
We knew you
Well,
could, buddy.
Our last part, and then I think that's it.
The next question is, of course, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, let me pull up my notes.
Ooh.
Oh no, there was
notes.
another question I thought.
The next question.
Only if you want to question.
What is the status of your season's podcast?
So we are
See,
still
that
in
question
some
sounds a lot
planning
like I
stages.
wrote it.
It does sound a lot like you wrote it. In fact, I think you
Yeah.
did write it.
I believe you wrote all of these.
So we're still in some planning stages. We've done some hangouts, playing some Discord games, kind of gotten to know each other, figured out what our chemistry is like. And I have been working on some thumbnail art for a couple weeks now, on and off, trying to get that finished. But I think within the next couple weeks we will probably do a test run of an actual recording and see how it goes.
I would like to make a couple of points.
Okay.
I did not write all of these questions. Stupido wrote that question. That is a Stupido question.
Okay.
And we didn't do any of that stuff, did we, guys? Did we have Did we find our vibe
No.
together?
Our vibe
Yeah,
was
no
no pilot.
Right around episode 3, I think.
Yeah. Luckily, some of our episodes got deleted by a gremlin.
That's true.
So we
Yes.
did technically
Man,
have those
we
vibe
did have a
sessions.
couple.
We just didn't know it.
Or Tucker.
Big gremlins.
Well, you know what they say
Lost
about
episodes.
gremlins. They do gremlin things.
Don't feed them after midnight? No.
Yeah, or they'll steal your episode.
Don't get them wet.
That too.
Aspartame?
Insert innuendo.
No, wait. So,
Bright lights.
the final question is, of course, Coleslaw, do you have any questions for the top 5?
How much time do we have?
As much as
Much
you
as
want,
you need, buddy.
probably.
Oh man, I'm gonna have the
like
longest
10
top
minutes.
5 episode ever.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Here we go. No, I don't have that many questions. I have a few, but
Okay,
there's a
good.
couple that I want each of you to answer if you feel up to it.
Of course.
So, for the whole group,
Mhm.
what is your D&D alignment, either in real life or when you play a character? What do you prefer to play in terms of alignment?
Stupido can answer first, because he does the most
Stupido can
D&D
answer
stuff.
Real life, I'm neutral good.
Okay.
When I play, I enjoy playing a chaotic neutral.
Okay.
When I play or like Baldur's Gate, I normally am like chaotic neutral-ish. I don't really like just like doing like the like evil ones purely because I feel like sometimes it like runs up against shit and I'm just like I just want to talk to this fucking NPC and just like see what they have to say. I don't want to be fucking evil about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm lazy. My goodness comes out of laziness.
Correct.
Just easy to be good.
It's just easier to just not fuck with it than it is, you know?
That's great. I like that.
I'll say chaotic good. With no further context.
I'm a
In real
Okay.
life or D&D?
In real life, D&D, I've played one campaign in that I was lawful neutral, I think.
Sounds
You're
right.
a big daddy barbarian.
Stupido would know. I was not a big
don't know.
daddy. I was not a big daddy nor mommy. I was a large, I don't know, guardian. There you go.
you were an earther,
A large parent.
Yep,
an
large
orc of the
parent.
land.
Large parent figure.
There you go.
I think I'm mostly lawful good, but I have more neutral moments on occasion, but I think I would consider myself lawful. And hopefully good.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Okay.
My
I was
next-
waiting for dissent. I'm glad I didn't get any.
My next question is, do you have any like crafts that you enjoy doing?
I do a very small amount of woodworking. Very, very small amount.
I kind of like woodworking. Woodworking's dope.
Hey man, you're super fucking handy. So I assume you have a bunch.
You do like cars and such. You know a
Yeah,
lot about
I-
cars.
Not like
I
do
could do-
cars, like rebuild cars.
I could yeah, I could do that. It's
do
not a
car.
fun hobby though when you're like I have no fucking money.
You're broke, yeah.
And
Yeah. Hobbies are way better when you have money.
That's true.
Mhm.
Who would have thought?
Let's see. I do a little thing called fake baseball. It's kind of a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to explain that if anyone wants to know. Let's see. I also enjoy sometimes right after work, I'd like to take an hour to myself, listen to an audiobook, and either do like a color by number or there's these things called Metal Earth, which is kind of like a small model that's made out. You take metal and bend it and make
I've got some
buildings
of
and
those.
such.
That's fucking sick. I love models.
And then when I was in Japan last year, I picked up several similar things but made out of paper, and I've made a couple of those, but still have some more to go.
Nice.
So it's small things while I listen to an audiobook.
Nice.
Is that like meditative for you?
It definitely was over COVID, and it has continued.
Mhm.
Crafts.
Oh,
I'm
and I
not
like
gonna lie, I don't-
D&D. That's a hobby. I like D&D.
My hobbies are mostly just video game related. Playing assorted video games. I've started walking, if you want to call that a hobby, just to try and be more fit. But most of the things I do are video game related or baseball related. Dynasty football is another thing that I do. I'm big into that. But we're currently in the off season, and I'm bored, so I'm trying to make trades, but nobody's trading. So
Fuckers.
So in a sense, you craft a football team.
yes,
Yeah.
I won the championship in the first season, and
Nice.
people don't think that I should have because apparently my team is bad. But fuck them, they can't say that they won. So
Apparently, it's good
Yeah.
enough to win.
yeah,
Yeah, literally.
good enough to win the championship.
Yeah, my hobbies aren't
Dickhead.
necessarily super crafty. I mean, my girlfriend like crochets so
Hey,
fucking much.
Cat also crochets.
Like, I'm looking at a net of yarn in our apartment that takes up a considerable percent of the square footage.
So you have room for yarn, but not lamps.
I tell her this so much. Anytime she's like, you know what we should get? I'm just like, yeah, you know where we could put it? Where all that yarn is.
And then
My wife and I went to a
assume she
rummage
hates
sale
that.
today and had very similar conversations.
Yeah. She does hate that. But yeah, but I will say make fun of the yarn, but like she does use like a lot of it. Like it's not the same yarn just sitting there. Like she goes through a shitload. She's always making stuff.
Has
My
she ever knitted you
primary
anything?
hobby. Yeah, she's made me she doesn't knit, she crochets, so she's never knitted me anything, but she's crocheted me
sorry.
a few hats. And a few other things.
Little
Cat
penis
crocheted
warmer.
me a scarf this winter.
Little dick
Wow,
warmer
nice.
for you, Dayman. Little dick warmer, maybe.
No,
No?
she made
I also was curious
a-
if you didn't elaborate because it was a sex thing.
No,
but I
it's
didn't-
like trinkets type stuff. Like she made me
Oh,
like
okay.
a nice little like case for some of my Switch remotes out of like this really nice yarn. Shit like that.
I have a buddy whose wife knits or crochets. I don't really know the difference, but she does something like that.
Crochet is two.
And he's
There's one needle, knit is two. Anyway.
I think she knits then.
Yeah.
Yeah, she knits. But he lifts a lot. And he's a very svelte like physique. And she made him a sweater one Christmas that was just like 2 sizes too tight. And you're like, yeah, we get it, Kathy. We see what you're doing.
Yeah, we're just like that was on fucking purpose.
Yep.
My
and, you know what?
main
He looks good in it. So go.
Yeah, you're just like it's fire. But yeah, she made some pretty good like clothes and stuff. My main hobby is like playing like, guitar and stuff. I probably do that for like 2 hours every day, hour, 2 hours if I
I
have
haven't listened to
time.
that thing you posted. Did you post it yet?
Oops.
I did send it to you, yes.
It was really
I'm
good.
sorry. I'll listen to it.
Oh, thank you.
The next
Yeah,
question
this
you got
weekend.
there, coleslaw.
Okay. So for the parents in the pod,
All right, I will back
how
up.
are
couple of us.
babies made?
How or what?
How are babies
Oh.
made?
We didn't ask the most important question. You skipped right over it, Leo.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any fucking
Alright.
sense.
Just because you don't have the ability to comprehend the physical. Oh my God! All right, babies, Cole, are made when a mommy and a daddy, who may or may not have
Have
known
sex.
each other prior to this,
Mm-hmm.
have sex.
Yep.
That's it.
Oh.
Cole,
Cool.
Agreed.
why is
Yeah.
there something and not?
But not
nothing?
every time.
Oh, why is there something and not nothing? God. That's why.
Oh,
We've
don't-
already had this discussion,
do that.
Chalk.
Yeah,
No?
but why is it
No?
actually?
Why is it actually?
All right, and that's our
yeah.
podcast brought to you by Confusing Conversations.
What? There is no answer to that question. Because there
facts.
is.
Yes.
I could go into a whole like existential. Chalk and I did talk about the origins of life as part of what I study via DM
Not just
I don't know,
life,
a week or two ago.
like stuff.
The universe, yeah,
matter.
the origin of everything,
Yeah,
elements throughout the galaxy and the universe at large.
42?
Yeah,
42.
that is
Very
the
good.
answer. That is why. No, so we talked about my research specifically, and you know what I look at in terms of trying to explain the origin and history of certain elements in the universe, because some elements are formed. Well, most elements are formed in stars or in supernovas, but some are not formed by that process. And so, figuring out why those exist and how they exist is really interesting and unique in terms of that particular field of study.
What,
but
like lanthium?
Why? No. So I mean, there's some elements that don't exist at all, like naturally. So technetium, I believe, is only it only exists in a lab setting. You can only synthesize it. It doesn't
A
exist
bunch of them in
anywhere.
like the lanthium series, like the whatever the fuck are like that,
Yeah, the
right?
lanthanides are pretty weird.
Yeah.
But
keep saying lanthium like it's a
specifically
thing.
in
Is that
terms
actually a thing?
of what was it?
Lanthide, lanthium. It's lanthides. Is that like in
Lanthanum, lanthanides are
lanthanides?
rare earth elements.
Yeah, like that weird separate part of the periodic table at the bottom. It's in its
Lanthanides and
own.
actinides.
Yeah, a lot of, or like some of those are only they don't really exist. They're only created in a lab setting, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I'm on board. You pulled out a word, Dayman, that I did not know, and I was just like, "What is that?" And kudos to you, my
My
friend. Nailed
chemistry understanding is like enough to make drugs and have like a pretty medium level conversation on the universe. Pretty good,
Awesome.
right?
I'm with it. Let's go.
But specifically, what I look at are the light elements. So lithium, beryllium, and boron are not actually generated in stars. I mean, they are, but they are then destroyed by stellar fusion processes.
Right, like they're made and then they're destroyed to make other shit,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So the lithium, beryllium, and boron that we have come from other sources that are totally different from most other elements. And that's kind of what I study by extension of looking at samples from an asteroid. And
then do you help? And then like, what do you like? You apply that? Is that what you're saying somewhere?
Yeah. So the asteroid, the samples returned from the asteroid are a kind of representation of what was floating around at the beginning of the solar system. So this was 4.5 billion years ago. The sun was
glossed
born.
over this fact. He gets to play with the rocks that they brought back from an asteroid in the asteroid belt, which is about the coolest fucking thing I know anybody has
Not
ever
in the
done.
asteroid belt. It's a near Earth asteroid.
Not in the asteroid. Sorry, a near. It does. Okay, I apologize. Yeah. There's an asteroid out there that's just floating around in somewhere, and we sent a thing to it, and it came back with stuff.
Yeah, that's cool.
He gets to play with that stuff.
But I'm interested about where fucking lithium comes from. Actually, it's actually incredibly important.
Yeah. Okay. I won't argue.
So some lithium was generated in the Big Bang,
right?
But beryllium and boron were not. So they come from interactions in the interstellar medium and molecular clouds when things like gamma rays and other like particles and stuff collide with particles in those regions.
Fucking shear shit off and make new shit and all that sort of shit.
Yeah, and colliding with smaller. So you'll have like hydrogen and helium, and they collide with other hydrogens and heliums, and all the radiation and gamma rays. It's very complicated. But that's one way to generate those elements. But there's more than one like proposed method for how you get the quantity of those elements that we have available in the solar system, and the problem with all of the theoretical side of things is that the theoretical calculations that would achieve those things can't explain the isotope ratios that are available. So there's some proportion of different methods of forming those elements, or there's an entirely other like method of forming those elements that we can't account for currently. But by looking at solid materials from the birth of the solar system, we can kind of see if their isotope ratios are preserved, we can see maybe what different sources contributed to those materials.
Right.
None of this answers the question of why there is something instead of nothing, but the answer is whatever you want it to be, because that's not a question that we can ever really hope to answer.
Kind of like if two
Thank
people
you.
could be born at the same time.
That's entirely different.
We'll never know.
We actually could.
Never.
We could know.
Never know.
Cole, do you really think there's no chance we'll be able to know why there's something and not nothing?
I mean, nothing is impossible, I guess, but if we take everything we know about the origin of the universe and the Big Bang and all of that stuff, like what we know now and the data that we have access to, the information that we have access to, if we could have answered why the Big Bang happened already, then I'm sure somebody would have, and maybe something will change where we find out more about the conditions of the Big Bang. But there's one of like the leading ideas about the Big Bang is that, or just about the history of the universe in general, is that all of the universe happens, like all of the matter goes everywhere, and then eventually it all, like all of the energy dies out, everything collapses again, and then another Big Bang happens, and the universe like exists in cycles. But that still doesn't answer why the cycle started to begin with. And there's just not really
why
like,
are there cycles and not no cycles?
Yeah, why is there anything? And there's you could get metaphysical with it, or you could try to like just like say that it is, that for some reason the universe exists. But we would have to go beyond our understanding of reality, I think, to be able to answer that question.
Well, if you figure it out one day, could you give me a text?
Yeah, I'll let you know as soon as I find out. I'll get my best people on it.
Perfect.
Thank you. You don't have to like work on it actively, just if it comes across your desk.
Okay, yeah. As soon as I see it, I'll let you know.
Awesome.
Okay,
I feel
I
better.
have two more questions. Now that I know how babies are made, and now that you all know where lithium comes from, this one's for Dayman. Dayman, who was the best rookie on Boise State in Season 10 of FCB, a team for which I played and you managed?
This is a really easy answer. The only thing is, this joke is only going to hit for like 3 people, but I'm still going to say it. The best player is by far and away Philip. That's all I'll say about it.
Okay.
Close second is you, of course, but I mean, Philip, you just can't. It's the thing.
Okay. All right. I see how it is.
Hopefully, Liru doesn't hear that.
I was about to say, shout out Liru.
Shout out,
All right.
Liru.
This one is for Leo.
Hello.
Leo, who was the best rookie on Texas State in Season 10 of FCB, a team for which my wife played and you managed?
Yes. She did. I mean, it's obviously Cat Toe Beans.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's obvious.
Yes.
Just name alone.
Yep. Banger name.
Banger name.
Banger
Absolute.
No more questions. I have what I need.
He's got him on his
You
desk.
just like rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. The prosecution rests, Your Honor.
The lithium has been made. Prosecution rests. If you figure out how to make lithium, let us know too. We'd get in on that earlier for you.
Yeah, we'll make sure to do a podcast on. We'll have you back on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We won't do a
find out how to
podcast on
make
it
that.
because we don't want Coleslaw to get assassinated by lithium mining interests, but
Yeah.
we'll invest in it with you.
There we go.
Can we not make lithium?
The United States government and the lobbyists who support it probably wouldn't allow that. No.
I don't. You
No,
can't create
so-
something
I'm
from
not-
nothing.
You can't
I don't know.
Well,
create it.
fun fact.
You don't have to create it from nothing.
The only way that we
Alchemy,
can
bitch.
get elements from other elements currently is by radioactive decay. So
Yeah.
until we learn how to properly fuse elements in a fusion reactor, that would generate lots of energy and would be way better than a fission reactor, which is what we currently have. We only get elements as byproducts of radioactive decay, and most of them are not safe or useful.
What, you
Can
don't
I
want
ask
lead 405? Come on.
Can I ask
Whatever
you a
the fuck
quick
it
question?
is. No.
Those. What was that word you used, man, that I'd never heard before?
Lanthanide?
The
What's the plural,
lanthanides?
Coleslaw? What's the plural?
Yeah, you got it. Lanthanides, yeah.
Yeah, lanthanides are the
Those-
plural. Lanthium is like an element itself.
Lanthanum is the individual element, yeah.
Yeah.
The lanthanides they don't exist naturally. We made
Well,
those, right?
so I didn't want to just like correct
Yeah.
Dayman on the spot, but they do. The rare earth elements
No,
do exist
They- yeah,
naturally.
they do.
The
It's not-
elements that
yeah.
Dayman is thinking of are they're actually, are they transition metals? They're
What
they're
was the
not
one that you
actually part
said?
of the lanthanides and actinides. So technetium
Yeah.
that is probably the one you are thinking of, and that is either a lanthanide or an actinide. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But there are other elements that are
Right.
only synthesized in labs. So anything after, I think it's 111 or 110, something like that.
Yeah.
Those are specifically synthesized in labs and don't seem to occur naturally unless they exist somewhere in the universe that we have not had a chance to study yet. But
Are they
we've got a
created-
pretty decent idea of the different kinds of stars. So unless other galaxies have stars that we don't currently comprehend or don't obey the laws of physics that we understand, then those elements are synthetic only.
My chemistry
Are
knowledge comes
those-
from a 40-page chapter on the Manhattan Project that I wrote.
Oppenheimer.
So
And it's all about
the-
just radioactive decay of uranium-238.
the ones that you were just talking about that we have made.
Yeah.
We make them through radioactive decay.
No, they do actually make them through particle collision. So I take back what I said earlier, that radioactive decay is not the only way to make elements out of other things, but
the amount of
It-
energy and money you would have to
efficiently
expend.
do fusion
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah,
So
just like you can
rather,
make technetium.
they
but you-
smash slightly like lighter elements together, or really elements that are half of the weight of the thing you want to make. You smash them together enough, and then you eventually get a semi-stable nucleus that then, of course, decays back into other things. Or you throw protons at something until it accepts them, etc. So yeah, they can.
So we could make lithium that way, but it's just too fucking expensive.
Like you'd make like a fucking if it was even possible, it'd be like a 0.0001 nanograms or whatever the fuck for like a huge expenditure. Like it wouldn't even be usable, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that would be the inefficiency part of it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, instead we will just find a lithium deposit, as is tradition.
As is tradition.
Leo gets that joke. Just when
The lithium
someone's
deposit
like,
or
the world's lithium reserves are, just like insert mineral, and it's just like, the world's X mineral reserves are dwindling dwindling drastically low, and then all of a sudden it's like a week later, it's like people in America find the biggest X reserve deposit ever. It's like lithium and a few other ones where it's happened a
There's
few
someone's
times.
house in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's
There's
just
a-
like literally, I'm just like some
Somebody dug
dude
up
in
the
fucking
largest
Kansas.
chunk of
Yeah.
lithium in the world.
Yeah, it's like some dude in Nevada figured out that he has like $50 billion worth of lithium under his house. We're fucking good. Like,
I was just digging one day, and then my shovel hit it, and I was like,
Well, that's
Yeah.
lithium.
Didn't know that was
That's,
down there.
that's lithium. Yeah, there's a
I
big
gotta be
lithium
honest, if
mine.
my shovel hit lithium, I would never know.
Yeah, there's a big
Lithium
lithium mine in northern Nevada, close to Idaho. That's like always a big deal in the news because it's on tribal land and they want to mine the fuck out of it.
Touch
Lithium's-
lithium?
What was the
Lithium.
Just
Can you touch lithium
question?
without protection, without
Once.
PPE, without protection?
Once. Is it radioactive? It's not
Usually-
radioactive, right?
It's not radioactive, no, but it's not stable with water.
Highly reactive and flammable, must be stored in vacuum, inert atmosphere, or inert
Well,
liquid, such as purified
doesn't
kerosene.
know
it-
what we should
Elemental
do.
lithium is not very common. You usually have to refine something to get elemental lithium.
Doesn't it react with air, or is that just lithium batteries and they're fucking dumb or something? Is that lithium as a
I
whole?
don't think elemental lithium specifically reacts with air, but it will react with water in the air.
Gotcha.
It's so lithium and sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, all of those react very strongly with water, and that's a pretty common cool science video. You know, they drop
Yeah.
like rubidium in water, and it essentially causes an explosion.
Right.
But lithium is the weakest of those reactions, so I don't know exactly what it does off the top of my head. But yeah,
Well,
I mean,
it's really hard
I
to-
would not touch elemental lithium.
Noted.
with the bare
Barehanded.
hand. No,
It's
I would
tough,
not
like
touch
you said.
most pure elements.
Yeah.
with the bare hand. I mean, like some things are inert, like gold.
Right.
But yeah, I would not touch most. Carbon's fine, I guess.
It's like you said, the elemental version of like what you think of when you think of an element can be like so vastly different from like what you know, a byproduct at the end.
Oh
a
yeah,
product at
I
the
mean,
end. So it's just like,
obviously, yeah, you have all sorts of no, that was a bad putt. You have all sorts of like compounds that these elements make, and then even beyond just compounds, like minerals with the same like elemental compositions can end up with very different properties, just by changing a small handful of things. So yeah, I mean, it's chemistry is very complicated.
yeah, it took me like probably like a good like 40 hours of research to understand how the US Army Corps first created uranium-235, because it's like one of the least common isotopes of uranium in occurring in nature, but it's obviously much better for fission and nuclear weapons than uranium-238, which is what is mostly occurring in nature. And from there, you get like 10 billion thousand byproducts and things that you do to it to turn it into like weapons grade shit. And it's like the most confusing thing ever. And then after you like are done with it, it decays into like a bunch of random, super confusing shit, like super random versions of like lead and plutonium or whatever the fuck. Not plutonium, but there's like another fucking weird P sounding one. Something fucking weird, but yeah.
Damon, I thought you were for sure going to say it took me like 3 semesters to pass chemistry, and I don't know why that's what came in my head. But when you were like, it took me like 40 hours, there was like a long pause. I thought you were going to be like, I thought you
I
were
actually
gonna
never
say
had to
forever
like take
fast.
chemistry or anything, really, outside of like high school or anything.
I did an undergrad course once, and I think I got a C, and I think I did it online, and I think I just moved the fuck on.
I took like environmental sciences for my
Let's
geology and stuff for
go.
my science stuff.
Environmental science. That's my favorite
Yeah.
class. It was so bad.
Geology was a banger of a class.
Rocks for jocks.
Yeah, that's my undergrad.
Yeah, it was like dope as fuck. Actually, we did a lot of like cool mineral stuff. There's like a pretty cool mineral museum near me at the Botanical Gardens. That's pretty cool. So yeah, but They're not rocks, they're minerals.
There are minerals in rocks.
We should have just been doing Breaking Bad quotes this whole time because chemistry stuff too, and the minerals.
Yep.
Damn, missed opportunity.
Dayman, is that 10-minute timer you set up?
Oh, it's so far gone. I do need to go.
I think Stupido left a couple hours ago.
I'm
he's-
here. I'm listening.
I gotta do my
I'm not a
power
science
rankings, guys.
guy.
Who should I put my power rankings as? Should I do favorite color?
Yes.
I don't try on these at all, so
You should
I
put
think
Philly
I'm just
number
gonna
one.
Which of course makes the
No,
San Diego Padres number. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I like to get as asinine as possible. So if anything, I would put the Phillies last, but I wouldn't do that to you guys.
Because I would annoy you for the entire next session.
Also,
After
I
the
just am
last
too lazy
power
to explain.
After the last power rankings came out and the Tigers ended up in the bottom 5, Kat was like, "Why is there even a bottom 5 chat? That's mean."
Oh,
buddy,
hey,
get
man.
ready to fucking speak it. I've been in that chat for a long motherfucking time. I just realized like a week ago that I couldn't fucking see it anymore.
I was going to ask
That
if
was
you were
like
still in it.
the Cardinals, the Blue Jays, the Marlins, and the Oakland was with us in there for a little bit with us last year, but it was those 3 for sure, and then there was like 1 or 2 other teams that would kind of rotate in and out, but it was us 3 for sure that we were all just like bottom 5 gang, let's go. Let's fucking go. So if you ever see like last session I kept reading the Blue Jays cuz I was like bottom 5 chat, come on. Cuz one of the last times we could all see it, we were like see y'all in the top 5 chat. Bottom 5 chat, man. Fuck that place. Tell her to scroll up. I have a lot of messages in there for the last few months.
Were you in it the entirety of the last season?
Literally every single week of the last season. I remember we started the season, obviously, there, and they're like, we'll update after the first one. Then we started 0-5, so we were just like, we fucking live here, dude. This is our fucking house. Like, us
we
and the Blue
started
Jays and the
0-5, copy.
Marlins. Like I said, like
Said it's
2
a
other
vibe.
teams, like
that first pick.
Houston kind of went in and out of there too, and Oakland did a little bit, but like us, the Marlins, and Toronto, we were all in there the entire time. Of just like, fuck everybody else, man. Fuck these guys.
We're out.
Well, thanks for
Wow.
coming on, Cole. I hope you started your day in a good way.
Yeah, this was an experience.
It is that.
Is that?
And on that note,
All right.
thank